thank you for joining us from Game Street Media at PAX Unplugged. I'm Gretchen, and here's Glenn from Forbidden Games.
Hi, Gretchen. How are you?
I'm doing good. Nice to see you. What do we have here?
We have Dungeon Party.
I love parties.
This is a party. The whole idea of this game is that you can play a role-playing game like D&D or whatever with anyone. They don't have to be role-playing gamers. They can be just random muggles. They can be your friends, your family, and they can actually play an RPG. And we're kind of thinking that this could be played in a bar because it's very social. There's lots of elements to it that are kind of like party-ish. That's why we call it Dungeon Party. So it's got some, kind of outrageous social interaction part of the game.
Tell me about some of that.
But you're also going through a dungeon, right? So it is an RPG. Has the basic elements of an RPG. So, and it's all on coasters, right? So these will be in the end production drink coasters.
That's so cool.
It's different, right? So it's meant to be played kind of out in the world. And so you'll have the traditional thing where you have like a character. So in this case, a barbarian. You'll take your class and race and your specialty. And then every room that you go to will have a room coaster and then a monster coaster. Whoop, get some glare.
There we go.
And then a treasure once you beat the monster.
All right.
And so the way the game works is that everyone gets together as the group, so it's cooperative, competitive. And so everyone gets their characters, and then you'll reveal the room, and the rooms will have curses or traps or some special thing that if you get cursed, you might have to go and tell someone, a random person who's not playing the game, that you're a hungry, hungry goblin and that you would like to try some of their food. Or you would like to buy them a beer, or you would like to, or you love them.
So this is like the extrovert's dream game and,
the introvert's nightmare.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome.
But if you don't want to be cursed, then you have to do the main mechanic of the game, which is to bounce your coin onto the coaster.
Okay.
Right? So it's a dexterity game as well. So you'll just bounce the coin. If it's on the coaster, you're safe. If you miss, then you're cursed. Right? And it's the same thing with combat with the monsters. You'll basically, if it's your turn to attack, you'll have the monster coaster in the middle, and you'll bounce your coin, and that's a hit. And if you miss, you get hit. Right? And then there's always the specialty things like, in traditional RPGs where your character might have a special damage that he does to certain kinds of monsters. So you'll be like, oh, I hurt giants, or I hurt undead. So there's real role-playing elements to the game, but it's a little lighter. Right? And then the treasures can be just monetary things like these jewels, or they could be specialty like spells or magic items.
Things that you would find in a dungeon.
Exactly. So it has all the elements of a classic RPG, but it's in a lighter way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and tons of great art. There's hundreds and hundreds of these tiles. So this is just a tiny sampling. So you've got all your monsters and different types, and they all have levels. So the first level monsters are easy, and as you go, it gets harder and harder and harder, and they have specialty attacks. And then you go deeper into the dungeon, and now you're really having to work together as the group to fight the monster more difficultly. And you've basically accumulated these treasures that can be used by only certain types of characters. So you might have a spell that can be used by a wizard, and if I got the treasure by defeating the monster, whoever puts in the death blow gets the treasure.
And is there a way to like trade between characters?
Yes. So you're just deal making, right? You're like, hey, these gem icons are victory points. And so if I've got these treasures, I don't want to just give them to you because you'll win. Because whoever has the most points at the end wins the game.
Of course.
So it's cooperative competitive. So I don't just want to hand you a very valuable treasure unless it's really helping the group. So that's what you're kind of wrestling with is, am I going to hand you a +2 sword because you're the fighter, or am I going to keep it for the value? And so the group is really trying to compete, but they also have to help each other because by the time you get to the 5th level, these monsters are really tough. And if you haven't buffed up, you're going to not be able to get through, and everyone's dead.
So you said these are going to become coasters. What is the age range for this game?
Well, it's a great question. The difficulty is not very high, right? So you could get a younger person playing the game if you're playing it at home. If you're playing at a bar, then it's 21. So you could use it as a classic drinking game too, right? If you miss, you drink. If you get killed, you drink.
I imagine the competitive nature of that is going to get a lot more interesting and fun in a bar-like setting with more people joining in.
Totally. Totally. So this is meant to be a very out social kind of experience, but all the classic elements of RPGs and the ability to get people who aren't necessarily going to play D&D into the genre.
It's like a bite version, like a little hors d'oeuvre
it's
of
D&D light.
Yes.
Right. But again, very social. And then funny too, because for example, some of these rooms, like this one is bats. So you might turn this room up, and when the people are trying to do their attacks, everyone's got to go like this in their face, right? So there's difficult levels of interaction with regard to the attacking, where you might have to do it blind, or you might have to do it standing on one foot, or anything.
All right.
So it's got elements of social and also elements of dexterity and also elements of just fun. Where
so it's just super interactive.
It's super interactive, exactly.
Awesome. So I just had a question in my brain, and then I lost it. I got distracted by bats.
Bats. Right.
Yeah. Do you want to walk through how it would be set up or played?
Yeah, it's very, very simple setup. So there'll be a dungeon coaster, and it'll say, okay, there's 4 first level rooms, 3 second level, and so on and so forth, and you'll just stack them. So it'll be 1 room, 1 monster, 1 treasure. And then you'll just stack it, make a stack for the dungeon, and reveal them one at a time. So it's very simple setup, but you'll basically reveal the room, then who's in the room, the monster, and then the treasure that you get after you kill the monster. So it's all the elements of it, but it's super simple.
All right, and then, so obviously this isn't the final because they're not coasters.
This is prototype.
Prototype.
Right? This is prototype. This Kickstarter is aimed at January 6th.
Okay.
And then the retail launch will be spring. So we'll have this available at retail in time for all the summer shows, and Gen Con will definitely have it, and we'll have a big production at our booth for Gen Con.
And if people want to help with the Kickstarter, where can they go for that?
They can go to our Facebook page, which is Forbidden Games, or they can go to our website, which is forbidden.games. Very easy to find us.
All right. That is going, I'm just thinking about this in a bar over and over in my brain. I'm like, that's going to be so much fun. My friends are going to hate me,
right,
but I love it.
And again, you could have your standard D&D group go and play this, and you get that same experience, but it's out and social and fun and interactive. Or you could say, hey, Mom, come and play D&D. She'd be like, no, I'm never doing that.
It's not my thing. It's not my, this is your thing.
And
it's okay.
It's so kind of laughing and fun and interactive.
It's silly and fun and all the best parts of D&D.
And if you want to take it more seriously, you can just take that out, right? So you can just say, we'll just do standard rooms, and we won't have the curses, we won't have all the social stuff. And then it becomes a dungeon crawl, just a pure dungeon crawl.
Dungeon crawl and bar crawl all in one.
We tried to work that into the name, but it just didn't work as well as Dungeon Party.
Oh, well.
We were like, dungeon bar crawl.
Bar crawly dungeon.
Right, dungeony bar crawl, right.
It's fun.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much
for
showing this game. I'm excited for this to come out. I'm going to look for the Kickstarter.
Thank you.
Y'all should look for the Kickstarter. And we will see you at your friendly local game store.